Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees. Thank you for joining in this evening for this special session in between our promises, 6 promises that we are supposed to cover. So some people are wondering, like, we did not keep up to our promise to cover all the 6 promises, but we'll continue to do all that. We'll be keeping our promise intact. But since, as we know, that whole world practically is celebrating this momentous occasion of Ayodhya Ram Mandir celebration, which is happening tomorrow our time, like in the night, 11 o'clock, 22nd of India's time afternoon. We are also doing some program tomorrow here, so you can join us. So I thought it is quite relevant to discuss something about from Ramayana. And I was wondering, like, what we should discuss. We know the stories, we have seen the stories, but uh, Ramayana and about Lord Ramchandra, there's so much of respect, devotion that whole world is offering. At the same time, you will see that a set of people, they just generally raise some objections on accepting Lord Ram as a supreme Lord. Some controversies around Lord Ramchandra from Ramayana. So I thought that it might be quite relevant to take up all those things and understand with the right perspective that how do we understand from the scriptures exactly all those controversies. So we'll try to cover few of them. We cannot cover everything, but we'll get the gist of how we should understand all of those things. So let's get started with the prayers. We'll offer the prayers to Prabhupada, so you can join me all in folding your hands and chant along with me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhasha Dadeshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today's session, as it is dedicated to Lord Ramchandra, so we'll offer some special prayers for Lord Ramchandra also. So you can see from the screen. Let me see if, yeah. So we all chant together. You can just fold hands again. Loka Viramam Ranarangadhiram Rajiv Netram Raghuvamshanatham Karunyarupam Karunakarantam Shri Ramachandram Sharanam Prapadde Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedashe Raghunathaya Nadhaya Sitaya Badaye Namaha. Hare Krishna. So with these prayers, we'll begin our discussion. So before we begin our discussion, I'll just give you some basics from Ramayana, just to lay the foundation. And then we'll jump into the controversies later. So in general, why people don't understand about the Lord, about the scriptures, and why there's a lot of controversies around. It's not only just Ramayana, but many times people, raise something around Lord Krishna also, why he stole the clothes of the gopis like that, something. So we need to understand one thing, that to understand about the Lord or to understand the scriptures, it is not some kind of a scholastic approach that you know some language like Sanskrit or something like that. You can read Sanskrit, you can translate Sanskrit, so probably you will understand the scriptures. That is not the way to understand the scriptures. Scriptures we need to understand under the guidance of a bona fide guru, because they're very complex sometimes. There is, like, Sanskrit is such a language, it's a beautiful language, but at the same time, it's not easy language. Like, for one word, there can be multiple meanings. And which meaning to take in what context, you can't figure out. You need the guidance from the guru. Like, say, for example, when we read Bhagavad Gita, the most common thing in Bhagavad Gita discussed is about Atma. Now, Atma we all understand by default, Atma means soul. But Atma means in Bhagavad Gita, there is a meaning. Atma means mind also, Atma means body also, and Atma means soul also. And like that, there are more multiple meanings of Atma. So, in what context, what meaning you should take of Atma? So, for that, we need the guidance. So, that is the one thing. So, when people, try to understand the scriptures with their all futile brain, with their intellectual ability, that is when they get into all this trap of creating controversies. Right. And Krishna very clearly in Bhagavad Gita explained this verse that Naham Prakash Sarvasya Yog Maya Samavrata. Says I'm not revealed to everyone just like that because I'm covered by my Yog Maya Shakti. So Lord is not accessible. And or I should say that understanding, the true understanding about the Lord is not accessible for everyone. He is Yog Maya Samavrata. Avrata means is covered by the Yoga Maya Shakti. So unless he reveals himself to that particular individual, one cannot understand. In truth, you will understand something about the Lord, but not exactly that what Lord is. Right? In fact, in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Aham Adir Hi Devanam. Says I am the Adi Dev. But to understand that, even the various demigods, they are confused. To understand my position as I am the Supreme Lord. So we have been discussing many sessions, and we discussed about various pastimes from Bhagavatam where Indra, who's the king of heaven, such a elevated demigod, he got confused to understand about Lord Krishna's position, and that is how we saw that this Govardhan Leela happened. And forget about Indra, even the first created being in the universe, which is Brahmaji, not ordinary person, very intellectual. He's created the entire creation. He got confused by seeing Krishna when Krishna was walking in Vrindavan with his cowherd friends, holding some piece of roti in the hand and eating like that. Brahma got confused that how he can be Supreme Lord. He cannot be Supreme. So that is the kind of Leela Lord performs that which bewilders even the personality like Brahmaji. So to understand the Lord just like that is not easy, right? So simple solution is we have to hear from the bona fide source. Tat Shrunu. We have to listen from the right source. That's the first thing that we should understand. So what we'll be doing is today, what we are discussing here is that what we have heard in the parampara from our acharyas, from the bona fide gurus like Srila Prabhupada. So we'll be sharing that understanding. It's not my understanding or somebody else's understanding, but it is coming down in the parampara. Okay. Before that, one more thing that we need to understand that what Ramayana teaches us. Very important to understand. If we understand this concept itself, a lot of unnecessary doubts and confusions and questions will be resolved. So there are actually three kinds of nature. One is called Vikriti. Vikriti means this is the nature of a person who is Vikrit. Vikrit means distorted mentality, wherein the person is self-obsessed. He doesn't care about anyone and anything. He is self-centered person. That for my own enjoyment, I'm okay to kill the people, to harm the people, to do whatever extent I had to do, I'll just do. This is called Vikriti. Example in the Ramayana we can see is Raman. Raman is a demonic personality in the Ramayana. So his mentality is Vikrit, distorted mentality. Then another thing is called Prakriti. Prakriti means the person is neutral. Live and let live. I'm neutral. I don't care. I just should focus on my life. But then there's something called Sanskriti. And that Sanskriti we need to understand from the Ramayana. What is the Sanskriti in Ramayana? So Ramayana basically actually teaches us sacrifice, tyag. And the entire Ramayana from the beginning to end, you will see all the personalities, they are teaching us sacrifice. Sacrifice for others. Everybody might be doing sacrifice in this world. People, when they go for a job, there is a sacrifice that they stay away from the family. But then there is a personal interest. It is not considered as sacrifice. Sacrifice means for the sake of others, to give pleasure to others, one should sacrifice their own comforts. And that is what is the Sanskriti of Ramayana. And you see that all the personalities, there is a episode where in Ramayana, this Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep, one time she approached Lakshmana in the forest, in the Vanvas. And we know that how Lakshmana, he did not sleep for 14 years because his seva was to safeguard when Lord Ramchandra and Sita Mata, they're taking rest in the night, and because they're in the forest, so any animal can attack, or sometimes some demons can attack. So he'll make sure that there should not be any problem for them. So he'll remain awake for 14 years. Such a sacrifice. We can't even think of and imagine of all such things. These are all great personality. They could do that. So one time, by seeing Lakshmana's situation, this Nidra Devi approached Lakshmana, and he says, "I'm really very impressed and happy and inspired by your dedication and your devotion to your brother Ram. So much sacrifice. Uh, so I want to offer you some benediction. You can ask me. I am the Nidra Devi. If you want to take some rest, I can offer that." So in response to that, this Lakshmanji, he responded, he says, Nidra Devi, that my life is dedicated in the service of Lord Ram and Sita. So uh, I cannot afford to sleep in their service. So I'm good. I don't need. Thank you for your proposal. But since you came and you're asking me some benediction, so probably you can do one thing. You go back to Ayodhya and meet my wife Urmila. And since I'm not sleeping here for last many, many years, so she is also voluntarily not sleeping for that many years. Sacrifice. So you go there back in Ayodhya and probably grant some sleep to my wife. So that I can ask. So Nidra Devi, she goes back to Ayodhya and she asks Urmila that I met your husband, Lakshmana. He is doing good. He's happy. And when I asked him, then he remembered you and asked to grant some sleep. And then in response to that, that Urmila says that I'm very happy that my husband remembered me. And my only grant, if you want to grant me something, benediction, then I would ask one thing only, and that you should give me the benediction to my husband that he should never remember me. Because if he remembers me, that might be a deviation in his seva to Lord Rama and Sita. So that is a kind of sacrifice. So you see that also these things won't exist in this modern age. That is why I'm telling all this. If we don't understand all these things, the Sanskriti of sacrifice, then we try to see all those episodes, those pastimes with our modern understanding. Because everybody is utterly selfish. Forget about not sleeping and all of those things. Just little uncomfort, discomfort created by anyone, there will be a big fight to the extent of killing others. That is the Sanskriti in this Kali Yuga, unfortunately. So, with this kind of a mindset, with this kind of understanding, if we try to understand the scriptures, we'll never be able to relate with all those things. Then people end up saying, "Oh no, no, these are all story, these are all mythology," because they can't accommodate all this kind of understanding in their head. The Sanskrit is completely different. It's a completely different generation, different time. Nowadays, in our childhood, the generation gap is like, parents and the kids. That was the generation gap. Nowadays, generation gap is like if you have the two kids in the house, one is studying in the seventh, one is another studying in the ninth, there is a generation gap. Their mentality doesn't match seventh and ninth. So much of difference in their understanding and in their perception. So it's very difficult to, with this modern mindset and modern understanding, to understand the scriptures. So first we should understand these basics of what the scriptures is actually talking about. So Ramayana is all about sacrifice. Scriptures are actually about sacrifice. So we should understand what is the sacrifice. So sacrifice means for the sake of my loved ones, I'm okay to take some trouble. Right? So the example that we can see in this material world is it doesn't exist. But the closest example we can see is a mother. Mother sacrifice for a newly born child. The child wakes up suddenly at the mid of the night. So mother doesn't say that, no, 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 it's my time is over. My duty is 9 to 5 or whatever, 9 to 9. It's midnight, how you can ask me to take care of you. no matter what it is. She might be tired, exhausted for the whole day. Suddenly, child gets up, and then she has to do all kinds of things to clean the child. It is not something very pleasurable thing, but she does. This is called the burden of love. So we need to understand. So this can be the closest example to understand what sacrifice means. Okay, so just to give you some foundation on that. Okay, one or two more stories about. It's very interesting story that to understand the appearance of Lord Ramchandra and also understand the appearance of Sita Mata. So many of us might be knowing little bit story, but it is good to hear and discuss that story. So we know that the father of Sita Mata is Janak Maharaj. So now this is interesting that Janak is not the name of his father, her father. Janak is a surname. So in that dynasty, everybody is Janak, but it's like a surname. So his original name was Shiradhwaj, Shiradhwaja Janak. So everybody in that line is Janak only. And how this name Janak came. So there is an interesting story. So in the dynasty, all these kings in those days, the kings used to perform sacrifices because they're the kings and they have to make sure for the well-being of all the citizens. So they'll perform a lot of sacrifices like that. So there was this king in their line called Nimi Maharaj. So Nimi Maharaj wanted to perform a sacrifice. So he approached this Vasishtha Muni, who was a celebrated sage, and he says that Vasishtha Muni, please come and perform the sacrifice. So this Vasishtha Muni says that, I'm a little busy. I've invited in the heavenly planets. There's a kind of level those people had in those days. Says I had to go and perform the sacrifice for Indra. So currently I'm busy. Once I'll go finish that, I'll come back and I'll do that. So he says, okay. So he went to heavenly planets for Indra to perform sacrifice. And we know that we understand from the Bhagavad Gita itself that the time duration on the heavenly planet is completely different. So our 6 month passes in their one day. And then one night, another 6 months. So for the demigods, if it is one day and one night, for us it is 1 year past. So this Nimi Maharaj was waiting for 5,000 years. He waited. And this Vasishtha Muni did not come back. He said, it's too much of a wait. So let me find some another priest and finish it off.
मेरे
So he
फोन में
found another
अलेक्सा
priest
चलती चला देंगे
and then
अलेक्सा
okay, so he found another priest and he performed this thing. And at the end of the sacrifice, he was doing some charity. That is a part of any sacrifice. So while he was doing all the charity, that is exactly when this Vasishtha Muni came back, and he was a little upset. He was furious. He says, "What is this? I told you that I'll come back. I gave the promise, and you don't have the patience to wait for me. What is this? You know?" And he was angry, and he says, "I curse you that you will die." So this Nimi Maharaj says, what is my fault? I waited for 5,000 years. How long you want me to wait? I waited, and then I thought, okay, maybe you are busy. So I did that. And for that some small mistake, you have given me such a heavy punishment of, I'll die. So I'll also curse you that you also die. So he was also not ordinary person, very powerful person. So now this curse cannot be taken back. So there was a huge uh, sensation in all the sages community that hey, what is this? We have never seen in the history that guru cursed the disciple and disciple cursed the guru. Both of them will die. What will happen? It should not happen. We should do something about that. So they came and pacified and all that. And actually Nimi Maharaj died. So the sages thought, no, we should bring him back to the life. So when they're trying to bring him back, he came to life, Nimi Maharaj, by the power of all the sages. And he says, I don't want the life. What is the use of this life? And all that, better I'll die. So then, they try to pacify him and they say, no, 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 but we want the king like you. And then finally they decided, he said, no, I don't want any more body. And then decided that whatever my dead body is there, they will churn that. Churn means mathna. So they will do the churning. From that churning, actually, one child was born. So the child was born, was having the Janak. Janak means the father, but he did not have the mother. So that is where this name, surname Janak came into that line. And further in that line, Shir Dhwaja Janak, who was the actual father of Sita Mata. So he also wanted to perform a sacrifice. So to perform the sacrifice, there is some Dhruva grass is needed, Kusha grass. So those days everything has to be pure. So this king decided that I'll grow myself, I'll cultivate myself that Dhruva grass. So I'll go in the field and plow and all of that I'll do. So while I was doing that plowing, so it got stuck. The plow got stuck in the land. So what they will do is they thought sometime these obstructions are due to maybe some past karma. So it means this is an indication that we should do some pious deeds, some charity, something like that. So all the obstacles are taken away so that we can continue. So he did all that, but one time it gets stuck, and despite doing all the charities, all the pious activities, nothing was working out. It got stuck so badly, and they started digging that place. And when they digged it down, then they found there is a box. In that box, there is a beautiful girl, and that girl was Mother Sita. So that is how the Sita. So what we are understanding here is they're not ordinary personality. Lord is not born like the ordinary people. They take birth here with the unification of male and female. It's not the kind of birth that the Lord appears. So this is how the Sita Mata came. And Lord Rama's birth is also quite mysterious. Many of us we know the story that how Janak Maharaj, how many wives he had. Sorry, yeah, Dashrath Maharaj, three, right? So we all know that Janak Maharaj had three wives, Kaushalya, Sumitra, and Kaigai. But they are the prominent ones. Apart from three wives, there is many more wives to Janak Maharaj. How many wives? 340 wives is that.
Dashrath Maharaj had three
Dashrath
wives.
Maharaj. Yeah, 340. So now there is a story that how he had the 340 wives. So during Dashrath Maharaj's rule, this Parshuramji was there, and he has taken the vow that I'll just wipe out all the Kshatriyas from the planet. So he was going and finishing and killing all the Kshatriyas. So whenever this Parshuramji will come towards Ayodhya, so this he has actually taken the vow. If I go to kill any Kshatriya, if the Kshatriya is getting married, then I'll not kill. That is the concession I'll give. So somehow this Dashrath Maharaj knew that, and he used as a protective layer. So whenever he get to know that this Parshuram is coming towards Ayodhya, immediately he'll arrange one marriage for himself. So like that, he attempted 340 times to come to Ayodhya to kill him, and every time just to protect himself, he has to get married. Right. So that is how he got this 340 wives plus three wives in addition. But despite having that many wives, he was having one daughter called Shanta, but there was no son. And he was wondering, because for Kshatriyas it is important to have the son to continue their kingdom and their dynasty. So he was wondering. So somebody suggested him that if a sage, now there is a specification, should perform a putra kamesti yajna, but there has to be some special qualification to the sage. What's the qualification? Qualification is the sage should have not seen any women in his entire life, including his own mother. This is what kind of condition it is. How it is even possible to find such a person? Right. But these are all different stories and that we find in the scriptures. That is why I said that we need to understand the scriptures from a different a vision. With our buddhi, we'll not be able to understand. So that was the condition. So then they found this sage called Rishishringa, whose story is, we'll not get into a story because it will be too long story now. We have to jump into our actual discussion. But his story is somehow, as soon as he was born, there was no mother to him because he was born from a deer, from a hare. And then his father was somehow upset with the mother, which was actually Urvashi. There is a long story. So he's very, very upset and he lost trust in any women. Says, I never want my son to see any women. So he protected his son in the forest that my son should never be able to see any women. That is how he was available. And later this Dasrath Maharaj, one of his friend, Rompad Maharaj, who adopted a daughter, Shanta. So he was looking for a husband. And then he found that, and then he arranged something that they got married later, Shanta and this Shringa. And then on the request of Dashrath Maharaj, he performed this Putra Kamishti Yagya. And then from that Yagya Purusha comes with a pot of sweet rice. and that was distributed between the three wives. Kaushalya got 1.5, and then 1/4 and 1/4. The other Sumitra and the Kekai, and then later the Kekai ate 1/8, and rest 1/8 gave to Sumitra. So then Lord Ramchandra was born from Kaushalya, and then from Kekai, Bharat Maharaj, from Sumitra, Lakshmana, and Satrun. So that's the story. Okay, just to give some background stories and some foundation. There's so much more can be said. We cannot cover all those things in this one session. But now directly jumping on to the controversies. So let us see what are all controversies that we see. So sometimes people, especially this is in trend nowadays because of this Ram Mandir. Okay, let us take the one first. So they're saying that how you can accept this Lord Ramchandra as a Lord, as Bhagwan. No, he's not. He doesn't have the character which is up to the mark, because it seems like he ate meat. So now this is a controversy going on in trend that Lord Ramchandra ate meat. How do we understand this? Okay, so first we should understand one thing is from where it is coming. So there is actually a section when Lord Ramchandra was going for Vanvas, and before going to Vanvas, he was talking to Mother Kaushalya, and he was trying to pacify because she was lamenting the son is going to the forest. He's trying to pacify and giving some promises, because as a mother, she might have a lot of concerns. And thing is, the son is going away in the forest, where he'll stay, what he'll eat, and all of that. So in that conversation, Lord Ramchandra says to Kaushalya that rest assured that I'll never eat meat in the forest. So these people taking this as a reference, and it seems like Lord Ramchandra was eating meat. Otherwise, why would he say that I will never eat meat? So that is why we need the acharyas. They will explain why he said like that. So basically, actually in the scriptures, Kshatriyas are allowed to eat meat in emergency kind of a situation. Right? There's something called the apat dharma. Apat dharma means apda. Apda means emergency. That when it comes to your life and you have no other means, in that kind of a situation, to survive, you can eat meat. This is called the apada dharma. It's not the regular dharma that you eat meat like that. So Lord Ramchandra is saying, I'll not eat meat even in case of emergency. If it is a situation of apada dharma, still I'll not eat meat. So don't worry about all of those things. Otherwise, you might be wondering like how I'm surviving, what I'm doing, and how I'm eating, and all of that. So that is the context. But these people, without reading the scriptures under the guidance of a bona fide teacher, and they just screw out some unscrupulous meanings like that, create the controversies like that, right? And also people give another reason that he was a meat eater because he was trying to kill the deer. Then we know the story that how Mother Sita asked that I want the deer, and that golden deer, right? So they say that why she want that, because they wanted to eat the deer. So she asked that okay, today some party has to happen, and then that kind of their interpretation, nonsense interpretations. But we should understand from the Balmiki Ramayana that how do we understand all of those things. Mother Sita, she asked because there's nothing called like golden deer. Nobody has seen ever. And we know that it was a trick, it was a Maya, Mraga, Marich. So it was an illusion. So she have never seen any golden deer. So it was very fascinating to her. She thought, if I can get this golden deer, then when I go back, then I'll give this gift to Mother Kaushalya, and it'll look very beautiful in the palace, in the Raj Mahal. That was the intention, which has been explained in the Balmiki Ramayana. Now these people are just making all the meaning because probably they wanted to eat meat. That is why Lord Ramchandra want to hunt the deer. Now, how do we counter it? Very simple logic. Logic is, if Lord wanted to kill the deer, why he has to run behind him? Lord Ramchandra, we know that how expert, archer he was. We'll know, we'll see that story that when they were it comes in the Aranyakand, when Supanka, you know, got fascinated towards Lord Ramchandra and trying to approach, and she tried to attack on Mother Sita. and the nose was cut. We'll come to that controversy also. So that is when the Supanga goes to the brothers Khar and Dushan, and they call the entire army of 14,000 demons. And how Lord Ramchandra killed them has been explained. Lord Ramchandra is standing at one place, started shooting the arrows, in a speed that they couldn't figure out that from where the arrows are coming. And it has been explained within no time he finished all the 14,000 demons, and there is not a even drop of perspiration on his head. So killing that many demons is like a child's play for him. Now coming back to our original story of killing the deer, does it really takes for Lord Ramchandra to run behind, chase behind? Because the very reason is he did not want to kill him. He just wanted to catch them. And he was running and all that. So there was no intention to kill. So these people say, no, no, he wanted to kill because he wanted to eat meat. So it can be refuted like that. Okay. And another thing that how we should understand is that the famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, what he says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yomi Bhaktya Prayachati. So Krishna demands that what one should offer to the Lord, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He never says that somebody should offer the meat. When Lord does not accept anything, then why he would do something which will set a bad example for anyone, killing someone and eating meat and all that. So either Krishna or Rama, they are all same personality. The principle remains the same. So that can be uh, another refutation to this. Okay, so that is one controversy we can understand like this. Another important controversy, which is quite famous again, say that this Lord Ramchandra was anti-minority, anti-Shudra, because they were the Kshatriyas, they were in power, they'll exploit the Shudras, lower caste people, anti-minority. And why they say all that? They'll say because of this particular incident in the Ramayana, where Lord Ramchandra killed this person, Shudra. His name was Shambhuk. So killing of Shambhuk. So the story goes like this. When Lord Ramchandra was ruling in Ayodhya, so one time this Brahmana comes and he calls out Lord Ramchandra that what's going on? There's something is wrong in your kingdom. Somebody is not either as a king you are not following the dharma, or somebody in your kingdom is not following the dharma. Reason is my young son died. So the understanding is before the father, son cannot die if everything is followed as per the dharma. So this is a kind of the rule they have. The king will be responsible if somebody's son died. Nowadays, you go to all these leaders, they'll kill you also if you go and this kind of objections, right? This is a kind of corrupt leadership we have in the modern age. But the king will take the responsibility. Oh, really? There's a serious concern that how somebody's young son can die before the father. And this Brahmana was claiming that you have to figure out, I'm giving you 7 day time. You have to figure out that what is going wrong. If you don't figure out and you don't solve this problem, then me and my wife will come in front of your palace and we'll finish your life. We'll also die. What is the point of living as our son died like that? So Lord Ramchandra took it very seriously, said what's going on, and then he sent his people to figure out that something is going wrong, somebody is not following the dharma. So that is what is called the Ram Rajya. People are talking about Ram Rajya now. We should understand what is Ram Rajya. Not even one person in the entire kingdom who is adharmic, who is not following the principle of dharma. And that is the duty of the king to make sure that every single citizens follow the dharma in the kingdom. That's the only duty of a king, a leader. Nowadays, leaders, they themselves are the most corrupted people. What they will make others to follow dharma, they themselves are not following. So that is unfortunate situation in the modern age. So when Lord Ramchandra got to know that there is this Shambhu person who was by caste, he was a Shudra, low class, and Lord Ramchandra goes on the spot and he was hanging on the tree upside down. He was performing some severe austerities, hanging on the tree like that. This is a famous picture from the Ramayana. And he was doing severe austerities. So Lord Ramchandra asked him that, "Hey, who are you?" He says, "I am Shambhuk." And he asked that, "What are you doing?" He says, "I am performing the austerities." And then Lord killed him. Now people raise the question, what kind of God he is that you are calling him God? What kind of king he is? He's like a dictator. He just killed someone because he was a Shudra or something. Because the Kshatriyas, they don't want the Shudras to be in the power or to get some strength like that. So he killed him unjustly. Now, understanding is little background of the Ramayana. How do you understand this? See, these are all incidents what we read, all these things we read from the Valmiki Ramayana, which is considered the one of the most authentic Ramayana. Original Ramayana is Valmiki Ramayana, which contains 24,000 Sanskrit verses. Now, after that, there's so many other versions of Ramayana, like in the North India, is Tulsi Ramayana, which is Ramcharitmanas, which is also like Chopais are there, many, many more. And there's some other Ramayana, then some South Indian Acharyas also is given. But the most authentic Ramayana is Valmiki Ramayana. So this incident is found in the Valmiki Ramayana. Now, Valmiki Ramayana also, actually the origin of Valmiki Ramayana is another Ramayana, which is called the Mool Ramayana, which many people doesn't know. So Valmiki Ramayana has only 24,000 verses, wherein the Mool Ramayana, how many verses it has? Any idea? It is not 1 crore, it is said Shat Koti, 100 crore verses. So that much detail about Ramayana has been explained in the Mool Ramayana. In that original Ramayana, it was a conversation between one of the incarnation of the Lord called Hayagriva, and he narrated the story to Brahmaji. That is the original Ramayana, where everything is so much detail, which contains 100 crore verses. From there, this Valmiki Ramayana has been taken. So definitely we can understand that the details has been shortened. So this Madhvacharya, he in one of his commentary on Mahabharat Tatparya and Nirnaya, he explains from the Mool Ramayana about this particular pastime of Shambhu. So he explains when Lord Ramchandra went there and he inquired that what you're doing. He says, I'm doing the austerities. Why they do the austerities? Because they want to have some power. So he says, what do you want? He says, I want to usurp the position of Lord Shiva. Because my intention is I want to destroy the whole world. He revealed. So I want to destroy the entire universe for many, many thousands of years. So as soon as Lord heard that, he immediately killed him. So people say now they create the controversy, and that he killed some Shudra who was low class. There should be equal right for everyone. If it's not only just limited to the Brahmanas, that they should only do the austerities. Everybody should be allowed to do the austerities. So he did not want the Shudra to do the austerities because there is a risk for them if somebody can come up with more power. Like that, people create the controversy. But we should understand, Lord did not kill him for performing the austerity. He killed him for what? Killed him for his bad intention. Why he was doing austerity, his intention was bad. That I want to usurp the position of Lord Shiva, and then in that position I will be so powerful that I can destroy the whole universe. That was his intention. It is just like if the government get to know that there is a terrorist and he's learning something, say something about computers or some medical or something, and they get to know that what is the intention, who is learning some how to hack some computer programming, something like that. Would government ever allow after knowing that he is a terrorist? So they will immediately arrest him, will stop him to learn anything, no other facilities given. So would you go and blame the government for that? You say, oh no, 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 everybody should have the equal right to get educated, whatever they want to get educated. Yes, there is an equal right, but at the same time, it's a duty of the leader to make sure that there is no misuse of your education or your power or your skills. So that is how it is, the understanding is. But then, people create the controversy out of that. So that is how the Shambhu. And they say that Lord Ramchandra is anti-minority, anti-Shudra, anti-lower caste. If that was the case, then counter, very solid counter is who is the compiler of Ramayana, which is Valmiki Rishi. Who is Valmiki Rishi? He come from a tribal community, which is in those days considered as Shudras only. So he was anti-Shudra, and why he would allow even Valmiki. And now when we talk about Ramayana, we say Valmiki Ramayana. Before Ramayana, Valmiki's name comes, right? Why would, if he was anti-Shudra, he would never allow him to write something on Lord Rama's life. Another incident that we find in Ramayana is the famous incident of Shabri. Shabri was also from the tribal community, and she waited for Lord entire life. And the Lord, to reciprocate her devotion, Lord personally goes there to Shabri, and then he accepted the fruits. It's not some good fruits, nicely cleaned, washed, and all that. It was all eaten fruits, Juta bear. So Lord is accepting the eaten berries from a lady, which externally speaking belongs to a Shudra community. So how you can call that person as anti-Shudra? So these are the all refutations. Simple. Just read the Ramayana, you will understand. You will get all the answers. Also, they say no, all these people, Kshatriyas, they want to win power, and they are like pro Brahmanas. They support the Brahmanas, and because they want to win the power and all that. So refutation to is Ravana was a Brahmana by birth, not actually a Brahmana by his guna karma. He was a demon, but by birth he was a Pandit. He was a Brahmana. If Lord Ramchandra was a pro Brahmana, he would have not killed Ravana. He would have considered him, exempted him, but he killed Ravana. So you see, all this kind of controversy does not stand when we read the scriptures under the guidance, right guidance. So Lord killed Ravana because his intentions were bad, and Lord accepted the berries from the Shabri, though she was a Sudra, because of her devotion. So Lord is not against any caste or any, because all this caste does not belong to the spiritual world. They're all on a material plane. Brahmana, Shudra, Kshatriya. It is in this material world. Lord is beyond all of that. So that is the refutation that we can understand. Okay. Another controversy. Okay, so let me open up here. If people, I have few listed out, but anybody's any controversy, you can put in chat, and we'll see if the time allows, we can take up those controversies. Otherwise, maybe I'll just cover here only. So another controversy is that how you call Ramchandra as the Lord, as Bhagavan. He could not protect his own wife. What kind of Bhagavan he is? What kind of protection he'll give to us? Go for the protection. He could not protect his own wife. How do we understand that? Right? So this kind of understanding comes. No. The same thing, that when we don't read the scriptures from the right source, when we don't take this knowledge from the right bona fide source, number one, and also we take this knowledge from the distorted sources like TV serials. So most of us, our source of knowledge of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Krishna, and all of this is majorly not from reading the scriptures. It's majorly watching those series, whatever Ramanan Sagar and all that. Nowadays, it is even more distorted. All the Pandavas, they'll have some six packs and all muscles. So they try to portray them in this modern style. So whole sanctity is actually diluted like that. So that is why all these questions comes. But how do we understand that Lord Ramchandra could not protect his wife? Is that possible? So actually, there is an incident to understand when Mother Sita, when she was a small girl, 5-year-old girl. So one time in the Janak Maharaj palace, there was this called the Shiv Chap, like what is that? Shiv Dhanush. So there was a condition, if anybody can lift it, that person. So what happens actually, the story why Janak Maharaj made this condition that anyone who can lift this will only can marry Sita, because there is a background story. Story was one time when as a small girl Sita Devi was playing with her friends in the garden. So they're trying to pluck some fruits, and it was a little high. So she couldn't reach any of them. So they're looking for something stick that you hit that and it falls. So they couldn't find any stick. So she found that Shiv chap, that Shiv Dhanush. So Sita Devi goes there and she lifted it like that and she plugged it like this. So when this Janak Maharaj got to know that she lifted this Dhanush just like that, she is not an ordinary girl. She is very, very powerful. If she gets married to some ordinary person, sometimes she embraces the husband, they'll crushed into pieces. So we have to find the right match. So he put that condition. So the point what I'm trying to impress here is Sita Devi herself was powerful enough to smash the thousands of Ravana like person. But the understanding is there was a plan of the Lord. There is a plan. So A lot of stories goes around that. What was the plan? So we'll understand that. So these are all kind of controversies, but I'll get into another another important controversy, which is they say that the Lord killed Bali unjustly. That was not right. Killed him from the back. Right. So there's an episode when Lord Ramchandra killed this Bali. And after killing him, he is still not like completely dead. He goes and talk to him. And that is when actually this Bali asked the Lord, why did you kill me? I didn't do anything to you, you know. And we never even met. What wrong I did that you killed me like this? So then Lord Ramchandra gave the three regions. And by hearing those three regions, Bali was pacified and he understood then what was his mistake. So three regions are like that. So he said that first of all, he quoted this Dharma Rakshita Rakshita says this is the duty of the king that he protect the Dharma. And one of the Dharma of the king is if anybody comes to his shelter, if somebody has commits a mistake, but they accept their mistake, they come to the shelter and they surrender, then that person should be, given the forgiveness, should not be killed. So your brother Sugriva, first of all, he did not do the mistake. There was a miscommunication. There was a misunderstanding. So story was like, when he was fighting with one of the demon in the cave, and Sugriva thought that something is wrong, and then he closed that cave and he came, and then everybody asked him that you should rule. And later, this Bali came, and he thought, the Sugriva had the ill intention, and he wanted to become the king, and his plan was to kill me in the cave like that. So he just assumed something, assumptions. So this is very, very important lesson. Why there is always clash in the relations? Because of assumptions. And what is the solution of assumptions? Communication, the right communication. If you want to protect your relations, you should not assume. Oh, maybe, he or she thinks like that, their intention are like that. Go and communicate with the people. So what he did not allow Sugriva to communicate. He was not ready to listen. He just assumed something that Sugriva wanted to kill me. And he said, no, no, please forgive me. And there was a mistake and my intentions were not bad, but he wanted to kill him. So he says, you did not follow the dharma of a king. So then you are not allowed to be like a king, number one. Number two, you are an animal because they are all monkeys. So say for the Kshatriyas, it is allowed to hunt the animal. So I killed him, you know. So then he felt little bad. He felt hurt. The Bali, that my dear Lord, why you're calling me like this? You're calling me like an animal. Say yes, because your actions were like an animal. Animals, they don't discriminate between their own wife and other's wife. You kidnapped your own younger brother's wife. You wanted to enjoy her. What kind of a king you are? So you acted like an animal. So you deserve to be killed. So that is what I did that. And another reason he gave is that I wanted to keep the words of Brahmaji. So Brahmaji, he got actually the benediction Bali. We know the famous benediction. It's a benediction that if he fights with anyone, so benediction was the opponent's 50% of his strength will transfer into the Bali. Bali himself was very, very powerful in first place. And then on top of that, that 50% of his strength comes into Bali and nobody can defeat. So he says, I am the Supreme Lord. My strength is unlimited. If I come in front of you and my 50% strength has to transfer into you, you won't be able to bear with that strength. You will burst because Lord's strength is unlimited. At the same time, I wanted to keep the words of Brahmaji. Nobody can defeat you with face-to-face fighting, so I killed you. So like that, this is the Balibad. And then after hearing these reasons, Bali was satisfied, pacified. He understood actually. It's just a short explanation. There's much more. Okay, the last controversy for the day, and then we'll take up something that is in the chat. So, so the last controversy is this. The Lord Ramchandra was not respectful to the women. He was very, very disrespectful. One reason they give is that they cut the nose of the Supanga, who was a woman. So people, when they create the controversy without understanding that why that episode took place. So we know the story that how when they were in the forest and the Supanka approached Lord Ramchandra because he was so beautiful, so attractive. She got fascinated and she said, I should get this boy, this young man should get married to me. She says, please marry me. So Lord says that I have taken the Ek Patni Vrata. So Kshatriyas were actually allowed to marry multiple wives. He says, but I have taken the Ek Patni Vrata, so I cannot marry you. Probably you can reach out to my brother Lakshmana. He has not taken any vow like that. He's also equally powerful Kshatriya. So she thought not a bad deal. So she approached to Lakshmana, say, I want to marry you. So Lakshmana also was not interested, and Lakshmana says that, see, my life is dedicated to Lord Ram and Sita. If you marry me, your life will be like a dasi, because I am already das to Lord Ramchandra. So if you think that you want to live a life of dasi, so indirectly, actually, he said no, right? So then she was very upset. Demons are like that. They want something and something doesn't get, then immediately they upset. They get upset. So she thought that the root cause of entire this thing is this lady. This person is saying that he has taken the Ek Patni Vrata, and another person is saying that I am servant to them. So if I kill this lady only, then probably something they'll consider. So she attacked on Sita Devi. Now this is their duty as a husband and Kshatriya. Then they had to protect their own wife. Like Lord Ramchandra has to protect his own wife. So Lord Ramchandra indicated Lakshmana do some treatment to her. So just to punish, there are different kind of punishments that you can kill the person who is attacking on you in self-defense, but they did not kill, but they cut the nose of Supanga. So that is the understanding. But these people say, no, 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 they were so disrespectful. They cut the nose of a lady, how bad it is. And, you look very bad with the cut nose and all of that. So this kind of rights they talk about without understanding the full. Actually, there was some resolution passed. I think it was in Canada, a few months back. So this government, they passed a resolution. They're saying that there was an incident they found. And then people sometimes all delivery happens, and you put the packets outside the house. So some thieves, some group of all these people, they come and they'll just steal away your packets from outside your house like that. So then people started installing all this CCTV camera, so you can capture that it's coming and all that. So they'll record, it will get recorded in the CCTV camera, and then they'll sometime, put those videos on the public forum like that. So this government, look at this modern government, modern leaders, how distorted they are. So they passed a resolution that if something like that happened, and if incident is recorded in your camera, you cannot put into the public forum because it's against their civil rights for that thief. You know, you are actually exposing the thief in the public. So basically, he'll not be able to show his face. So you should not do all that. It is again their civil rights. So this is a kind of resolution wherein they're talking about the rights of the thieves. What about the rights of the person who lost his whatever valuables? So similarly, all these foolish people, when they talk about, the women rights and all that, you cut the nose. What about they're attacking on their wife and like that? So that is how we understand. And also another controversy in the same thing that he was disrespectful is famous controversy, Agni Pariksha. That Lord Ramchandra was so insensitive. He did not trust such a chaste wife, Sita Mata. And then he asked her to go through that, whatever, Agni Pariksha. How he can be so insensitive? If he is so insensitive, how you can worship him as God? So this is a kind of controversy these people give. Now to understand this Agni Pariksha, there's multiple angle of vision, how we can look at this. First of all, this Agni Pariksha, why it happened, there was a reason. Reason was because Sita Devi, who was in the forest with Lord Ramchandra, was not the original Sita. She was Chaya Sita. So there is, now from where this is coming, you will not find this incident in the Balmiki Ramayana. So from where you're quoting Prabhuji, how you were saying all this story. So this story was found when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling to South India. So he went to one of the devotees' house, whose name was Ramadas Vipra, who was the devotee of Lord Ramchandra. So he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the prasadam at his home. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his some associates, when he reached his home, and then he found that there was nothing was prepared, no food was prepared, and this Ramdas Vipra, this devotee was he was sitting in lamentation, crying, very sad. And then then they said, "Hey, Lord is here, and you should serve the prasadam. Lord is here." So then he was saying that, yeah, yeah, wait, wait. Lakshmana has gone to the forest. He'll pick some firewood, and when he'll come, and then Sita Mata will cook and all that. They're wondering like what he's talking. Then they realized that he was into his meditation. He was in ecstasy of, because he was a devotee of Lord Ramchandra. He was reading the Ramayana, and he was still into that absorption of Ramayana. He was not in the external senses. So he's talking about that Sita Mata will cook, Lakshmana will bring, and all that. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu waited for 5 hours. So after 5 hours, he came to the senses and he begged forgiveness. Oh, my dear Lord, sorry, I didn't recognize that you came and all that. And then he prepared the food and he served the food to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after serving, everybody was eating, but he himself was not eating. And he was constantly crying, crying, crying. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him that, hey, what is wrong with you? Why you're crying? So he says, I'm crying with thought that how this demon Ravan can ever touch Mother Sita. She is so pure, she is Jagat Mata. How he can touch the Sita Mata. With the thought, I am so pained. I cannot bear the thought itself that he touched the demon, such a demon, he touched the Sita Mata like that. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to explain to him and he pacify. He says, no, 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 no. This Ravan never touched the Sita Mata. He doesn't have the power to touch the Jagat Mata Sita Devi like that. But he was not pacified. And Lord moved on. And then Lord went. And then one another temple in South India, he went and he found that some devotees in that temple they are reading Ramayana from Kurma Purana. So this particular story, what I'm narrating now, is found in the Kurma Purana. See, this is how our scriptures are so vast to understand in full. It's very difficult unless something is revealed. So what exactly they were reading there was the reading that Sita was not original Sita. That was Chaya Sita, the shadow Sita. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, hey, what is this? Can you give me the copy of this? Say, no, no, how we can give you the copy of this? Then immediately there was another copy was made. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked those priests, requested that give me the original copy. You keep the new one. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again returned back, goes back there to this Ramadas Vipra. And he showed that. See, it is mentioned here in the Kurma Purana that this Ravana never touched Sita Devi. And then that is how he was pacified. So now what is the story behind this? What is the Chaya Sita? So Chaya Sita's story goes from the previous ages. From Satyuga, there's another devotee lady who was Vedavati. So this Vedavati, she was performing the austerities. She was completely devoted to Lord Narayan. And she decided that I have accepted Lord Narayan as my husband. I want to just dedicate my life to Lord Ram. So she was sitting, very beautiful, and she was sitting in meditation and austerities. And this Ravan was passing by. He was a very lusty person. So when he looked at this beautiful woman, he tried to, attack on her. He wanted to enjoy her. So he came and he catch hold of the hair of this Vedavati, and immediately it broke her meditation. And she was so upset and so angry that you foolish fellow, you demon, you have contaminated me by touching me. My life is completely dedicated to Lord Vishnu. But since now you touched me, I got contaminated. Now this body is not suitable for offering to the Lord. So I'll give up my body. So this Ravan caught hold of the hair of this Vedavati. So she was a yogini, she was having some power. So immediately with her hand, she cut the hair like a sword. And then what Ravan was holding was just the hair. So I curse you that you have contaminated me like this, broke my austerities. I'll become the cause of your death soon. So this Vedavati becomes the Chaya Sita during the Treta Yuga, and she comes. So when Lord Ramchandra was actually in the forest, you know, so Sita was kept under the custody of Agnidev for the protection. And who was going what? This Vedavati, who was a Chaya Sita. She was not the original Sita. She was not the original Sita. So actually, Raman never touched the Sita Devi. And now, whole entire Raman is over. Raman was killed. They came back, and there's also Griva in the party. They brought Sita Mata on the palaki, and then she comes. And everybody was very excited. We were cheering, celebrating the victory. And suddenly, there is a twist in the story. What is that? Lord Ramchandra says, stop. And everybody says, what happened? He says, you cannot come. To come close to me, you have to give this Agni Pariksha. And the whole scene changes. The whole cheering and celebration turns into suddenly pin drop silence. What happened? How Lord can talk like this? Such a chaste wife, and he loves so much. Because all through what they have seen is Lord Ramchandra was lamenting, crying, Sita, Sita. So what happened to him now? Sita is right here, and he's making such kind of comments like that. So then Sita, Mother Sita, say, okay. So then Lakshmana was asked to set up the fire, and then Mother Sita goes through the fire. And the understanding was, if somebody is completely pure and chaste, if they pass through the fire, that fire cannot touch them. So there will be witness, like nowadays also in modern system. Also we have some witnesses. You can bring some witness who will give some witness against and that okay, no, I've seen this person is who didn't do anything like that. So they'll consider the witness. So in those days, the witnesses were like all these great personalities like the Agni Devata. So when she passes through that, then Agni Devata comes. So actually, who enters was the Chaya Sita, and who comes out is the real Sita, because she was under the custody of Agni Devata. So that is why this episode was orchestrated. So she comes, and then he also gave the benediction for the sake of others, because the real Sita was never there with the Rama. And Lord says, now another understanding of this is, so this is the storyline. How do you understand why this Agni Pariksha? If Lord Ramchandra has not asked Sita Mata to go through this Agni Pariksha, these are all foolish people in this modern age. Today we would have raised this question on Sita Mata's character. That who knows that she was there for 10, 11 months with some other person? How you know that she is pure? How you worship her as Jagat Mata? Something like that. People are like that, no? Contaminated. So Lord once for all resolved all those, unnecessary, somebody is raising finger on the character of Sita Mata. And Sita Mata is not scared of pariksha. See, who is scared of exam? One who is not prepared. One who has studied well, they will wait for the exam, because exam is a time for them. It's an opportunity for them to prove that how glorious, how talented they are by going through the exam. And when they pass the exam, whole world will glorify. Oh, this person is first rank. Everybody will glorify. So they are not scared. Who is scared is one who is not studied well. So it was not a pariksha for Mother Sita. Actually, it was not a pariksha. It was an opportunity for us to prove the purity and chastity like that. Okay. So these are all kind of controversies that people keep creating, that he was not respectful. He asked for the Agni Pariksha. And then we answer them, say, oh, that's all okay, chalo, okay, understood. But the last thing for the day also, we are just covering 5, 6. There might be another 60. But this is good enough for us to refute all such foolish people. So another one is, they say that she gave the pariksha, understood that she was chaste and everything. Later, when Lord Ramchandra was ruling, so there was a system that all these kings in disguise they will go out and check that how the praja is doing, all the subjects in the kingdom, how they're doing. So one time when Lord Ramchandra was there in the kingdom, and then he heard one washerman, one dhobi, he was talking to his wife, saying that wife went to the mother. He said that I'll come tomorrow, but she could not come on time. She came a little late. So what he was saying, this washerman, he was saying that why did you come so late? I'm not like Lord Ramchandra who will accept the wife who stayed 10 months with other person. I'm not like Lord Ram. I cannot accept, just go back. So when Lord Ramchandra heard, then he said that these are the kind of sentiments in the kingdom. So I should do something. See, this is how the kings were so responsible. It's a modern king, if you comment on somebody leader's wife like that, That person's wife has to cry for his husband. They'll hang him, they'll kill him, they'll arrest him, and whatnot they will do. But they're so responsible kings that somebody who is this washerman, some useless fellow, some insignificant fellow in the kingdom, but he took it very seriously. He says to do, because that is the role of a king. King should be idle person. Nobody should be able to raise or to object anything, raise any point like that. And that is how these kings were worshipped in the kingdom. And somebody is commenting on his wife, says, I had to take this step. So through this particular pastime where Lord Ramchandra decided that I had to send Sita away from the kingdom. And then he asked Lakshmana that take the Sita to Valmiki's ashram. So there is a pastime. For everything there is a Leela. Why Lord does all of that? That to get separate. Right? There was a demon actually in the past, and he got the benediction that unless Lakshmi and Narayan get separated, he cannot be killed. He did the study, got the benediction. Now Indra was trying to kill. He was torturing Indra. So Lakshmi and Narayan, when they get separated, they never get separated. So some leela has to happen where now Lakshmi, the Sita Devi, has to get separated from Lord Ramchandra. She was not separated while even one was. Also they are together. But now she had to get separated. So like that we can connect all those things. But through this pastime, Lord is teaching us that how an ideal leader should be. This is the role of a leader. So for a leader, for the king, the first priority is his kingdom. They had to sacrifice their personal relations, their personal comforts, because they're enjoying the power. People are literally worshipping them. So there has to be some cost associated to it. What is that cost? Nothing comes free in this world. Cost is this, that you have to sacrifice your own personal life. So ideal leader should be like this. When it comes to Praja's comfort, their faith, and the values in the kingdom, and they're ready to sacrifice. And when people say, no, the Lord abandoned Sita, so actually we should understand, he did not abandon Sita just like that. It was not a vanvas like they had the vanvas. He was living, Mother Sita was living under the protection of Valmiki Rishi. And that ashram was also under the jurisdiction of Lord Ramchandra only. So there was all kind of protections were available. There is guidance were there. She was living under the protection of Valmiki Rishi, and then later Love Kush was born and all that. So that is how we can understand all these controversies, that he disrespected, he did not trust the wife, he abandoned the wife, and he cut the nose, he was not respectful. So we should understand in the right context. So we should understand this Ramayana teaches us a lot of principles, a lot of values. Lord Ramchandra, he values the values more than the valuables. Ramchandra values the values more than valuables. Wherein the Ravana, the demons, they values the valuables more than the values. There's no values, there's no character for valuables. I want to enjoy something, someone will attack on them. But Lord Ramchandra is Maryada Purushottam. So they're teaching by their examples. Okay, so we'll pause with this. Many more controversies can be taken, but in the interest of time, I'll just take some few questions here. Anybody's any question here, you can ask here. Let me just read. Okay, somebody said Agni Pariksha of Sita Mata, which I already explained. Sita Mata Tyag by Sri Ram. Okay, after the washerman. So that is also covered. So we pretty much covered everything. Anybody has any quick question or any comment? Anybody wants to add something to our discussion? Yes. And again, after she has to go to the yeah, that is what I explained. No? That leadership is like that. Leaders are like that. If somebody is raising the question someone and someone's wife like that he accepted the wife and something like that, this is okay now. Just to pacify the praja. So people should not talk like this. And they should not lose faith in their leadership. So he took that step. These are all hard decisions that a leader should be ready to take all that. The great powers comes with great responsibilities and great sacrifices also. People want to enjoy the power freely. That is modern leadership, unfortunately. Okay. So wonderful that whole world is celebrating this. So tomorrow we are also celebrating in the temple at 12 o'clock. Please do come join us for the Ram Tarak Yagya will be singing some bhajans. Some discussion also will happen. And let us imbibe. See, it's very easy to talk about Jai Shri Ram everywhere, and changing your DPs with some Ram picture, some Jai Shri Ram, and just saying Nara Jai Shri Ram, Sanatani, and all of that. Great. But most importantly, it should not become just fanatic. That oh, we are Hindus, we are Sanatanis, we are all Ram Bhaktas. Most importantly, is we should learn some values from the Ram's life. The Lord Ramchandra's life is all about teaching us the value that how we should live our life. So that is more important to imbibe the values, instead of simply just becoming fanatics like that. So sometimes it might happen that people fanatically talk about that, but we should start to read something, understand the values, the books like Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and then understand those values, take the lessons, and try to imbibe that in our day-to-day life. And that is the real meaning of saying Jai Shri Ram. Otherwise, it just remain in the namesake only. It might not benefit much. It will definitely benefit. Lord's name is always beneficial, but we should take the full advantage of the values from the Lord's life. Okay. So please do read the books. Actually, Chanak Pandit says that somebody was asking that which book we should read. Sometimes people get confused. So I'll just quote this last words and then we'll close with that. So Chanak Pandit says this: Prata Dyuta Prasangena Badena Tri Prasangat Ratro Chora Prasangena Kalau Gachanti Deepmata. So he says, Prata, in the morning, what you should read is Dyuta Prasangena. You should talk about the gambling in the morning. Talk on discussion about gambling. Madhyana is Tri Prasangata. In the afternoon, you should talk about some women. And then Ratrau Chora Prasangena. In the night, you should talk about some thief. These are all code words. So it says, Prata, you should talk about Dyuta Prasangena. What is the Dyuta? Mahabharata. You should read Mahabharata. And then Madhya, Stri Prasanga. Stri, the Sita Mata and the whole Ramayana. So afternoon you read the Ramayana. And Ratro, Chora Prasangena. Talk about the chore. With the chore, Magan chore, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narration of Krishna Leela in the 10th canto. So one should read Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam. So the person was saying, maybe I asked the wrong person. How would I read all this Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all that? So if you think it is too overwhelming, then the recommendation is you should read the essence of all of this, which is much shorter, much smaller, and that is Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. Start with reading Bhagavad Gita and understand, and then gradually you can read more. Okay, so let us take some vow on this occasion that we start to read some books, scriptures, and if you're not chanting, please chant this Hare Krishna mantra every day. So let us chant now together, and then we'll be serving the prasadam for everyone. Hare Krishna. So please repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Acharya. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram